Furling lines on a boat. Where do you even get started in knowing the length to cut for these? Let's go find Steven and get the answer to that. Glad to finally get you because, man, I have all this line that I've now put on Nomad. Super excited to see these last final bits come together, but I have the furling line that I need, like goes in the furling drums, right? And I have drums plural because it's a cutter rig, right? So I have that like head sail and then I have the stay sail. Both those have the furlers. And I was gonna try to just figure it out on my own, but I'm actually quite a bit confused exactly how you would figure out the length that you need to run inside those drums.
It's a very common question, and it's interesting. I actually just saw a discussion online where someone said, hey, the stock length for a furling line in my user manual is, and it was like 125 feet for a 45-foot boat, which just made no sense. But there's a really simple way to figure it out. And so you gotta remember that when you unfurl the sail, you're pulling on the sheets, right, that control the sail. And as you're pulling on the sheets, you're releasing the furling line, and that is then wrapping up around that drum in a given direction. And so therefore, the amount of line that wraps around the drum needs to be equivalent to the foot length of your sail, because for every rotational distance, there's no gearing down in that furler. So every time the furler turns 6 inches, 6 inches of line gets taken up onto it.
That makes sense.
And then when you go to furl it, the opposite's the case. So for every foot of line that you pull, you will roll up 1 foot of sail. Now, what you don't want to end up with, though, is the exact length needed to barely wrap up the sail, because then what you'll end up doing is that line is terminated on the drum, and if you're pulling on it, and right when the sheets, when it's fully wrapped up, if that termination gets loaded up where it's either tied through the drum or screwed to the drum, you might overload that and rip the furling line off. You want to have a few wraps left on the drum.
That makes sense.
And in addition to that, ideally for a storm, you've seen people do it. They wrap their sheets around that sail like 10 times.
Sure.
So ideally you want an extra 8 to 10 feet, even 12 feet of line on top of that length, so you can wrap your sheets around the sail really nicely and secure if there's a bit of a blow coming. Obviously, if there's a big hurricane, you take the sail down. The formula is from the furling drum aft to the cockpit to where you are going to be pulling from. So whether that's run aft to a turn block and then forward to a winch, or just through a diverter and straight to a winch, but measure back to the winch plus a couple feet. Then figure out how long is the foot of my sail. On your boat, it's a 40-foot boat. The mast is probably roughly halfway down the boat. So depending on how much your sail overlaps the mast for your head sail, that would be probably about 20 feet. Maybe a little more if it overlaps. If it's a 120 or 130% sail, that percent is how much the sail overlaps the mast. But so the foot length of the sail plus that distance back plus 10 feet. So on your boat, I would guess, if I were spitballing it, I'd say it's a 40-foot boat plus 20 foot for the foot, that's 60, plus let's just round up and say 15 feet, 75 feet.
Nice.
For your jib or Genoa furling line. And then for your stay sail, it's the same thing except that much shorter, because the foot of the sail is shorter, the distance from the furler back to the cockpit is shorter.
So the foot of the sail too, though. Okay, I was gonna say it's not that far from drum to drum, but then that sail foot, all that comes in.
Exactly, the sail foot being smaller plus that distance, it's probably 20 feet shorter.
Wow.
Maybe a little more. Yeah. And then the other thing I like to do, and this is not something you have to do, but it's a really nice touch and you should do, is that final 10 feet. So when the sail is fully furled and when you're doing those wraps around the sail, that first batch of line that goes onto the drum, it's really nice if it lays nice and flat and flush and doesn't bunch up or cause overrides. So if you strip out about 10 feet of the core of that furling line, so it's a cover in the core, you cut the end off and you pull out, you milk out about 10 feet of the core, lop it off, and then milk the cover back down over it, and then just whip and burn the end. It makes for like a flat webbing type line, and that will lay on the drum nice and flat. And also makes, like on your furlers, I'm pretty sure there's a hole drilled in the drum where you have to pass line up and through. Now you're only passing that piece of cover up through there. It's much easier, and you can tie a knot and lock
that's
it
an
off.
Interesting pro tip. So it lays flat. The covers on these are so strong now. Anyways,
plenty, and it's never the highly loaded part of the furling line, right? Because it's 90% furled at that point. So it's a tiny little piece of sail, if any. It's just those final 10 feet to get your extra wraps on there. But it means when the sail's fully unfurled and there's, say, like 30-35 feet of line on that little drum, it's not overly full now, because the first 25 to 30% is a much smaller volume. So the drum doesn't get overfilled. You've seen it sometimes where the drum is so full that the line is actually bunching up against the stainless line guards, and it jams and tangles. So it's better in many ways. It's a nice improvement. And then one last thing, I guess, is line size, right? So what diameter line are we going to use here?
Oh,
The most common furling line size is 3/8 inch or 10 millimeter.
Okay,
It's
10 mil.
universally in these cruising boats up to 45 feet and even
Okay.
50 feet. It's
Really?
10 mil. It's very rare to see bigger. On furling lines, a lot of people ask and want to use like a Dyneema core line or something that's
okay.
crazy high strength.
Yeah,
or strength,
the type of
right?
line, duh.
So
Okay.
yeah, a double braid polyester is my default, because if something goes wrong, and I'm not sure if we've covered halyard wraps at all, but there's a thing that can happen where the halyard wraps around the furler, and if you keep pulling that furling line, you can break your forestay. Now, double braid polyester is capable of doing that, but Dyneema is going to do that. So an HMPE or Dyneema cord line is, in my opinion, too strong and too robust for a furling line. I want your furling line to be a fuse. If something starts going wrong, there's a chance you're just going to break that double braid polyester and not have a bulletproof Dyneema thing that will just break the force.
Wow, interesting. Okay, another good pro tip. Okay, that makes sense. So that would be in the Southern Ropes World Yachtmaster.
Correct.
Okay,
exactly.
So the nice soft Yachtmaster, which feels better on your hand.
Exactly.
After that, man, it's going to be getting on the sails for the first time in 12 years. That's
So
going to be
awesome.
super interesting. So close. Hell yeah, man.
Can't wait,
Looking
man.
forward to it. I'm going to go cut some line.
Awesome. Sweet.
So now that I've been informed over the principles behind the length of line that I need, the diameter of that line, and the line type, it's time to get that cut over here downstairs at the yacht rigger where they sell all of the line, spool this southern rope onto the table here, and start doing my final cuts, and then taking the furling line and delivering it to my boat. The thing I realized though is that I forgot to do the splice where I take the core out, so I'll come back and do that here in a little bit and show you guys that. But first, I want to go get my eyes on my sails. It's not a necessary step right now, but I'm closing out this rigging, and I feel like that is important to just go check it out.
So I'm here at my storage unit, and I need to check out these sails. Whenever I had gotten Nomad, it had a bunch of sails inside the boat, but the sails hadn't been installed in 12 years. But for now, I just want to get eyes on the sails and maybe get my head around it just a little bit, because to be honest, getting the sails onto the boat is a little bit of an intimidating process because I'm just so unfamiliar with it.
So this is just a mass of sails and all these haphazard bags that I got from the previous owner. I haven't done inventory of them, but there's supposed to be an entire new set of sails that have never flown, which also means I don't know if they fit. I don't know if they have the cars with the slugs on them. I'm just not sure of that. We will be seeing that in the next episode, but let's get back to these lines.
So now that I know how these are going to run into the drums, and then it just goes with like a dead end on inside of the drum itself, I'm going to take the core out per Steven's recommendation so that can lay in there flat. So let's do a little core extraction. So here is the cutoff end of my line, right? This is the furling line we're working on, and I need to make sure that the core of this doesn't push its way out of the jacket. So I need to do a nice whipped end. And the question is if I remember how to do that or not.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to voice over on this. I try to show the steps that I take on whipping the end of this line here, and it turns out I actually do remember how to do it. It's just I'm out of practice and it's not very pretty. If you guys want to see an actual step-by-step on that, I can actually get one of the yacht riggers to do a video. If you want to see how that's done, I'd be happy to do that. But I got to get these whipped ends on to keep the core where I need it to be so it doesn't slip on it. And then I do the extraction itself, where I take the core out of the line by opening up the fibers about 10 feet up from the dead end of the line, and then pulling the core out itself, and then cutting it, and then milking it back in. And that is the process of getting the core out, making sure the line doesn't slip, and making it so that I can do what Steven said, where essentially the core is gone so that the cover can lay cleanly up against the drum of the furler. I just wanted to take a second to say that while this is supposed to be how the pros do it Sunday, It's not always possible to get schedules aligned and be able to get the pro on board at the moment to show every step of the way. So sometimes we all just have to get along with what we can get, and that's going to be watching me fumble through something, but at least I'm usually operating under the instruction of a pro, and we'll see the content grow more into its own over time. I think just the release schedule is more important than the perfection for every episode. Thank you guys so much for watching, and ask that you would, if you're vibing, please be subscribing. But yeah, let's get back to this little extraction that I'm doing, and then I'm gonna run these lines on Nomad, and really excited for the next steps. So I simply tied the knots inside of those furling drums and then spun the line into it so the drums are loaded up. And it is time for the sails to go on this boat in over a decade. It's going to be running under wind power here very soon, and I'm so excited. Thank you guys for joining along. Looking forward to the next episode of Getting Nomad Sailing.